Hey guys, today I'm here with Peter, and he got third place at our second MSU Weeklies of the semester. Peter, what were you playing today?
I was playing Kashtira Tearlament with Ishizus and then some Bastiles.
How about we take a look at your main deck?
Of course, so we do 2 Fenrir, and then 3 Unicorn, 1 Birth. So when I was playing at the Indie Regional, I didn't do so hot because it was my first regional and everything. Learned a lot, given the fact that I only play this game for 4 or 5 months now, but it was very tough, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I was pretty happy with this deck and with these ratios. Unicorn came up a lot, literally came up every single game at the regional and the locals here. It came up every single time, but I was thinking about doing 2 births instead of 1 because at the time I was worried about everything being banished, or if I'm playing against a Kosh guy, or they'll just banish every single thing face down, and that wouldn't really save anything. But even then, I wanted to do 2 just in case if they banish stuff face up. But I was pretty happy with 1 because at times where I couldn't see any of the Kosh cards, it was a brick. But I loved it a lot because when I was doing Diablosis, I would just pitch 1 and then revive back, and then either do Unicorn or Fenrir. I was pretty happy with this. These cards are literally insane. I can't wait for the new support.
Is there a reason you only run the 2 Fenrir as opposed to 3?
Me personally, I like doing the 3 Fenrirs, 3 Unicorns, is because when I was testing it, I wanted to make sure the extra deck was going to be out. So in the case where it's going to be the mirror match, I wanted to out kit immediately. So that's why I did 3 Unicorn instead of 2 Fenrir, because I wanted to see Unicorn more than I did with Fenrir. But going second, I would side this out because going second with Unicorn is not that good.
Okay.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
I was pretty happy with this ratio. I know some people who do 3 Fenrirs, 2 Unicorns, but I was pretty happy with this given my goal, and it solved everything.
Cool.
Then for the tiers, 2 Rena Hearts, 3 Havness, 3 Merlee, and then 3 Sharons. Pretty standard. I don't think I really need to explain this too much.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard. Then we got the Ishizu cards. I do 1 Agito, 3 Kaldo, 3 Medora, and then 2 Kelbeck. I don't really do Orange Light or Diviner because to me, it's just very confusing. I'm fairly new to this deck and just to the game itself. When I was testing it, I wasn't really benefiting out of it because with Diviner, the problem with Diviner is when you're trying to normal summon and you're already screwed. Let's say you have Renaheart, Merlee, no Sheerans, and then you end up something with Birth or something like that. Anything that just you're gonna need a normal summon. The problem with that is Diviner already wastes a normal summon, but so you're gonna need your fusion plays. So that's why I was pretty. It's not really an Ishizu card, but I like to consider it as an Ishizu card because it's still a fairy. Because these are all fairies, and I was pretty happy with this ratio. I tried it with no Agito, but I wanted to keep this deck as generic as possible. And if I was going against a deck that was going to be reliant on just milling off, and they needed those cards, and that happened at the regional where I was milling. I had Agito and Kelbeck. They milled, and they just scooped up because they couldn't do anything. That happened today at the locals as well. An EXO player, different person, but mill 10, scoop. And so I was pretty happy with this. A lot of people say Agito is pretty trash, but it does the job by just milling, but that's really it. I was pretty happy with this. I'm still testing it out.
Okay. And you've never felt like you needed more Kelbeck or Agito, more millers?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just want to keep this deck as generic as possible and as smooth as possible.
Okay, for sure.
So that's why I'm doing 2 Bastiles as well.
All right.
So in the event that I'm playing against Tri Brigade or something, there's no darks, there's no lights, so that's why I keep this as generic as possible by just doing 2. So it just makes the deck a little bit more smooth, makes the deck a little bit more consistent as well. And in the event where it's I don't see this, then I can just side it out. It's just easy things to side out. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that, with the ratios of the Bastiles. Then we do the tier spells. We got 3 Pelareno, 1 Scream, 2 Celiacs. I know a lot of people, they like to do Celiac and then Crime, but I have Crime on side in the event that I needed to rely on Celiac. and I need to rely on the ads when it comes to the mill-offs, so I added two Celiacs instead. And then I'm doing one screen because I'm not playing that many traps to begin with. It's not really necessary to play 2 scream if you're just gonna be playing just like 2 traps, and that's really it. Then we have the extra stuff. We got 1 Terra, 1 Instant Fusion. I hope it doesn't get banned because it's a good card. It's a god card, but it's way too powerful at the same time, so I can understand if it's going to get banned soon. Then we do 2 triple attacks and then 2 super pallies. Super pallies came in clutch. I was testing without super pallies so many times, and I was very happy that I ended on super pally just in the main deck, because when I was playing against decks that were gonna be locked on like darks or just lights, well, not locked, but if they had just darks and lights on board, and be like, oh yeah, super pally, discard, targeting your Savage, targeting your Borland. I was pretty happy with this. I was thinking about maining this or signing it out. I was pretty happy with maining this. And then same with triple tack. I've never sided out the triple tacks. I was very happy with this. In the event that I was just like, oh, I needed more ammunition, triple tacks came in clutch every single time.
Cool. And you don't feel like the build is ever too heavy leaning towards going second as opposed to going first? Having the super polys and the triple tack?
Not really. It's just like extra like copium. So I was just like, you know, thinking like worst case scenario. I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need that. It was very difficult for me to just like have them side out or side in, because I really like the cards to begin with, and you know, I just really wanted to make them very badly. Originally I had 3 imperms to make the deck 43, but the problem with that was it ended up being a little bricky at times for me. Like if I just, or it just came up useless, where if I just impermed and then I make the foolish mistake of imperming something, and then they have like 4 cards, 3 cards on hand. But that's just a rookie mistake on me. And in order for me to just make this consistent, like clean 40, I want it to be as clean 40 as possible. I had to take out the imperms, so just to make it clean 40, just to make everything very consistent. But that's just me. Other people might say otherwise, but that's just my playing style. I just want to be clean 40 with tier, because I want to see all my mills, I want to see all my tier plays, I want to see everything as best as possible.
All right, awesome.
So yeah, that's a clean 40. And then we got the extra deck. I'll just do something extra deck. And then we do 1 kit, her ultimate form, Rukalos, and then the enemy, Kaleidoheart. This is easily my favorite card out of all of these, because for one, I like the design of Kaleidoheart more, and also like to have that shuffle it back into the deck is really game changer. I liked it a lot. The problem with that is, you know, just having, you know, your 2 Aquas and then your Renaheart. That's the only problem with special summoning it, but I just really liked it a lot, especially where I was encountering players where they targeted this, send it to the grave, and then it just comes back, which a lot of people didn't know. So when I was like, oh yeah, I activate Kaleidoheart, comes back, and then does the same thing every single time, that was pretty good. And then Rukalos. So one advice for people who are playing against tier, a lot of people have the mistake of being scared of Kit. No, you have to be scared of Rukalos. Like, I don't care if you Ash this, because then I can just pop it myself and then mill the 5, and then if I get a tier card, then make Rukalos. So I think that's a lot of people's mistakes when they're like prioritizing Kit, when they should be prioritizing Rukalos.
PSA, you imperm or you Veiler the Kit. You don't Ash it.
Exactly. If you Ash it, you're gonna be in an interesting battle against this beast. Then we got the Super Poly targets, or just extra fusions if you really wanted to. We got Mudragon, Garura, and Dragostapelia. It's pretty standard. I wouldn't change it for any other thing. Then we got the XZs, Dweller. I said it in my other deck profile with the Sky Strikers one. Dweller is just very important, especially against the mirror. I don't want them to do their fusion plays. I don't want them to do their Ishizu plays. I just don't want them to do any plays. And it was just a very good card. Then we have Bro Guska, the pillow version, not the other version. Then we have Dugaris. This card is insane. A lot of people sleep on Dugaris so many times, but also I do Diablosis. So Dugars came up so many times because when I had like Sheeran or Mudora, and then I have a Kosh in the field and that I milled off, and then I just bring back the Kosh card, or if I have another Kosh card on the field as well, and then just bring that back, make Diablosis, and then pitch Diablosis, and then if I had Birth on field, then it just comes back. So Dugars comes in clutch a lot. Or if I wanted to use stuff as an extender, Dugars came in clutch. So shouts to Ben and Dustin for showing them this card, because I didn't know what it did at first, because as soon as I saw like, oh, skip, like I don't want to deal with, you know, the skipping, and I'm like, oh no, wait, this actually comes in clutch, especially if you have the Kosh cards in the grave. So you best believe I'm bringing back Fenrir or Unicorn back. So that's why Dugars came in clutch. And then Diablosis, I was pretty happy with playing with Diablosis because in the event I had Birth, and then all the overlay with Fenrir and Unicorn, and then pitch, and then just revive back. But also it's just insane, especially given the next format where it's going to be banishing face down a lot. It's pretty insane. When I was playing against a Runic guy, he desires, and then he didn't really do too hot on the desires, and then I make Diablosis, banish an extra additional 10 face down, because desires is going to be face down. So that won me a game. These two cards are easily slept on. Then we do Zeus. It's pretty standard. And then for the links, I only play 4 links. Still testing it out, but I'm doing Asa, Dark, Elf, and Sprint. Asa is the weird one that I was really confused with people playing, but then I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh, given if they're playing something like Pure Kosh, or if they're playing something like the Tearlament Kosh build, and then if I see Fenrir, you better believe I'm pulling out Fenrir back, and then use Fenrir's effect, pull back, and then go from there. Same with Dark. If I saw a Bestial targeting Magnamute, and then use Magnamute's effect, and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Because what happened, I was playing against a Branded Bestial guy, and he had Dweller. And Dweller is only your graveyard, right? But that doesn't mean it doesn't stop you from targeting your opponent's graveyard. So he activated Dweller thinking he succeeded. Oh yeah, Link summon Dark effect, and they're like, no, you can't on the graveyard. No, it's on my graveyard, but I can target your graveyard. And then you can use Magnamute effect, and then eventually end phase, resolve. So these two cards are pretty good. I don't think I would have changed any of these for anything. I'm still testing with the Asa though, because it's just a weird one, and then I always cited it out for another thing that I just have on the side, which I'm still testing as well, but we'll see how it goes. Then we're doing the side deck. We have the goated tokens, the Primal Being token, and the Mask token that just instills fear on people.
Hey, nobody's scared of that mask token, bro.
No. Everyone, look at this. It's just, everyone's just scared of that. Instill fear in everyone. But for the side deck, we do 3 Dogwoods. This won me a game. It's basically like a poor man's version of Max C, but I was pretty happy with it because, like, when I was playing against a Sword Soul guy where he just kept special summoning, this came up every single time where I was like, boost, and they didn't know what was going on. They're like, huh. You have like 20,000 life points. Like, yeah, because of this effect. And they're like, oh, I should have read that card. And I'm like, well, yes. So if you're going to be a good Yu-Gi-Oh player, you got to read a lot of cards. But I hate reading a lot, so I can understand why people don't read it. But also, it's just a time card. I don't like it. I don't like Volcanic Scattershot that much because it's only 500. Versus this, you can do as many times as possible. So that'll save you time, and that could possibly win you games. I was pretty happy with this. I'm testing it out with Nibiru as well because Sword Soul's making an emergence again, and people just don't play around Nibiru as much. Same with Super Poly. No one really played around Super Poly. So that's why I was pretty happy with this over Nibiru. But also, like, if you make the mistake of Nibiruing and you don't have anything good on hand and you're trying to figure out a way to get rid of the token, then you're pretty much screwed, and you screwed yourself. And then I do 2 of the other Bestials, especially if it's in the mirror. Like I said, I only play like 2 Bestials in my main deck, but if I was playing against the mirror, then I'm going to side these in, and then it comes up pretty clutch a lot of times. And then we do the other triple tactics. 2 Dark Hole. I do 2 Dark Hole over the Dark Ruler because I wanted to just get rid of every single thing possible, especially if they have D-Fisher and they have nothing else. So they just say Fisher Pass. Well, Fisher Pass with like, a couple monsters that just know the gates or anything. Oh yeah, Dark Hole. It moves everything. But also, like, if I want to, like, go lethal, Dark Ruler, you can't really go lethal. So that's the problem with Dark Ruler. That's why I was pretty happy with Dark Hole instead. And then just for added support, I do 2 Lightning Storms and then Duster. This came up for things like Flu. So if they already have something like Dreamtown and everything, like, it comes up a lot. And so then you run into the problem. It's like, okay, they already activated Dreaming Town when I dustered, but also they're still birds. Lightning Storm and the birds, because they're all in attack, and not a single one of them are going to be in defense. So Lightning Storm came up a lot on other stuff, like other locals, other regionals. So I was pretty happy with playing all of these ratios right in here. And then for the mirror, I do the crime. Yeah, I only just do it for the mirror, especially if I'm just dealing with like banishing stuff. Crime comes up, and then I can just save either of the tier monsters. Or especially if someone like crowed me, and they crowed the Kit Kalos, I can just bring Kit Kalos back when this is built. So came up every single time, a lot when I was playing against like other people. It was pretty nice. And then I do 2 skill drains over something like Tikaboo, because this is just more versatile, but also even for like Zombie World, this is just a little bit more, how do I want to say, like, more broad, and it's just more open, so it affects Flu, it affects Exo, it affects Tier, but that's why I did Skill Drain over something like the Zombie World or Tikaboo, because it can save you a lot, and you want to do the best you can to survive, too. So. And then for the 15th, I do Saiton Knight. This one's pretty weird, but I did it because over something like Time Thief, and I don't know, if I just wanted to like get rid of the board, that's where Evil Swarm just came up a lot. Especially if I was not using Asa, then I would just swap out the Evil Swarm, swap out Asa with Evil Swarm. Made this twice, won me games, and I was pretty happy with that.
Cool.
And that's the 15 side deck.
Awesome. Well, do you want to have any shout-outs that you would like to give?
I have a lot of shout-outs. First and foremost, Dustin, I love you, dude. I appreciate everything you've done for me. I appreciate the theories and practices and disciplining me to be a very good competitive player. Shouts to Ben as well. Ben, you guys you and Dustin are pretty amazing. Both of you are insane. If you haven't checked out Dustin's profile, he's in the deck profile as well on our YouTube channel. But shouts to them. You guys have made me so much better. I was trash when I first got into this, but they've done a lot for me. They've gotten me to think about more competitively, thinking about just deck brewing as well. I'm not the best at that, but they at least can like get me to understand like, okay, why are you playing with this card? Or if you're going second, why exactly are you playing this over this, So those two I really applaud for. I always, I'm very grateful for the both of them. Shouts to Brad, shouts to Dylan, Jax, and Nick back at Legends. I love you guys. I'll always support you guys, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys support me. Shouts to Red and Cody. You guys were really supportive, especially with the whole racist debacle that I dealt with the regional. I'm glad that you guys supported me and through all of that. Shouts to Jacob for taking me to the regional as well. You were clutch for taking me there because I didn't feel like dropping. And shouts to Evo Evolution Games down in Lansing, Michigan. You guys are amazing. Shouts to Nick, Rico, all you guys. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Shouts to Michigan State Yu-Gi-Oh! Club. Shouts to Miles, Gall, Christian, Aiden, all of them. They're amazing. They get me to think every single time, especially Grant and Aiden. I love you guys. You guys are the boys. Amazing, getting me to get better every single day, and I couldn't be more grateful. Shouts to Starlight Games for the support groups as well, for the people who just want to come out there as well. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you, Corey, to getting me to think about the game as well. I appreciate every single individual that I've shouted out, and I can't think of right out of the top of my head as of the moment, but if I didn't shout you out, just know in my head, like, I can't process and I'm also tired. I appreciate everybody that's come into my life, but also shouts to my mom again for allowing me to play this game, and because she's not very happy with that. But yeah, and then shouts to my brother for allowing me to get this playmat into fruition as well. I'm a huge Sly Cooper fan, so and then he knew that I decided to go play Yu-Gi-Oh and everything. He was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I'm like, "Oh, I just want to play that. Like, I have the design and everything." And he's like, "Really? Of all things?" I'm like, "You have no idea how much it means to me." And then this came to fruition. It is so freaking nice. I can do something like this. Well, actually, that was pretty bad. But I can do something like this, and it comes out smoothly. It's so nice. So I shouts to my brother as well. And that's all it. Come out on Mondays from 5:30 to 10 at Michigan State if you're in the Michigan area. So if you're, anyone's willing to come, you don't have to be an MSU student. So you can come on out. We encourage it. We'd love to see you guys here.
For sure. Thanks so much for your deck profile, Peter.
Of course.